Is this album a return to form? Bright Night is Josh's latest project. Of course, if you're watching this, you probably already knew this, but Bright Night is a part of the usual album cycle that Lil Revive does for Halloween. Um, Josh's next album, after, in my opinion, his severely disappointing album, The Return. The Return had many issues. I covered all of them in my last video. And in this new record, in my opinion, it is clear that Josh took some of the community's commentary to heart. First of all, the cover is actually drawn out by Josh. It's not AI, which thank God, because the AI covers were fucking awful. And this one not only looks much better, but it also doesn't feel awful to listen to. But let's talk about music. Is this album a return to form? Now, definitely think Josh used a lot more melodic stuff on this record, and it did come out to mixed results in my opinion. I'm not someone that really hates auto-tune in music. I actually think most of the time it is a good thing. I think it can improve the way the song sounds, specifically in pop records, which if you can tell this album is mainly pop, because, he uses a lot more melodic stuff, so it's melodic rap slash pop. And yeah, I do think auto-tune is a great thing most of the time. But there's a few moments on this project where it kind of drowns out with his voice, which I kind of like, I kind of don't like. I'm just very mixed on it. And yeah, I think there's also some mixing issues. That is a mixing issue, but I think there's some other stuff kind of laying around on here. But I don't really think it takes away from that much. I'm just kind of neutral on it. I'm just like, all right. I mean, I guess. I did like most of the singing though. Yeah, that was definitely an improvement. Didn't sound like he's saying the same chorus with different lyrics this time, which is definitely a step up from The Return, the Christmas album, and GP4. Another thing I gotta say about the overall song structure here is that the beat choices were a lot better on this record. They were still kind of repetitive. I'll get again, I'll get into that later in the video. Josh has finally, thank God, ditched that shitty ass guitar preset. Man, I hate that thing. If you know good music, you also probably dislike it. You know what I'm talking about. It's the Midwest emo trap beat guitar thing that Josh just picked up since GP4, and just continued to spam it, spam it, spam it. There's like 30 different guitar beats on those records, and yeah, I hope he never brings this thing back. There's no guitar beats on this album, and the beats can range from like the old Grim Peaks sound to even some beats that sound like they could have been on Better Off Dead. But let's talk about music. Is this album a return to form? I noticed the beats and song structure getting kind of old and repetitive. By song 5 on this thing, I think that Josh has the same way of making a pop song that he overuses a little too much, and I think this is pretty bad. It makes the songs just feel kind of lifeless. They feel like throwaways. Just another pop song. It's rare listening to these newer records that I find anything interesting out of the lyrics as well. His writing has gotten very repetitive. As I just mentioned, it's so common to hear the same stuff. I think it's generic, it's boring, and I already know what to expect with every single drop. A little tired of Josh doing pop song after pop song after pop song. And, these are obviously a little darker in tone. They're still pop tracks with little to no rapping verses on them. There is a rap song on this track list. I think it's the best song on the thing. It's called Cult Classic. It is the closer, and this track is pretty good overall. I did really cringe at the closing line though. It's a little weird, and the ad lib it was like, all right. I mean, you know how Josh likes to put funny stuff in his lyrics, but I don't know. That just kind of put me off from that song. Um, but yeah, I think these songs lack a lot of quality, and it kind of feels like he lost love for it. It just feels, these songs don't feel special. Even with an album that was super hated on when it dropped, like Fearless 2, the songs all felt really dedicated, they all felt really special, didn't just feel like some throwaways he had. And yeah, this album is a 5 for me. It's nothing too crazy. It's nothing too bad. Um, I don't really have any huge issues with it. I'm not gonna return to this thing ever. I don't see myself listening to this in the future, but I do think that Josh did better on this than the return. But Scar, you asked if this album was a return to form. Do you think that? I actually do think this album is a slight return to form for Josh. Whilst he didn't try anything new, and there are obvious lyrical issues everywhere, is there really many other problems here? I mean, sure, the songs are painfully mid, and the album is pretty boring to me, but it sounds like Josh knows exactly what he needs to do. So, what to expect in the future? Hopefully some big changes and good albums on the main. I really hope he switches it up a lot, but I guess we'll see. Is this album a disappointment equivalent to The Return? Definitely not. But I ask, is this?